Hey everyone, it's Jeremy, the producer of On a Water Break. And for this bonus content, this new podcast that we're starting, I had to have this person do it. There was no doubt. And it wasn't even about having her do it. It was about having the conversation with her about what she wanted to do in the podcasting world because she is that amazing. I've known her for a really long time. She is one of the main hosts on a Water Break. It's our Canadian sister. It's Cynthia. Take it away, Cynthia.
One day we'll have a crowd. One day.
One day. We'll do it live in front of. We'll do it live at the guy one time. And
Ooh.
See, there you go. That was kind of in the works to be planned, but anyway, that's for a different conversation. So I'm very excited that you were, first off, that you were willing to be one of the regular hosts. So for those of you who haven't listened to the main show, there's a main show. We have, 8, 9, 10 hosts from all different areas of the activity. And one of the things that I knew was missing was sort of this international sort of thought process, whether it is from Canada or, the Netherlands or Mexico or whatever. There's certainly marching arts everywhere. And I think that's one of the reasons why it was so important to get you on. Besides the fact that you are literally an encyclopedia or some sort of Google database of everything. So how did this all come to be? That's what I think we need to start with.
Oh my God, that's the biggest question. How are you? Why are you who you are? Well, first of all, I was really happy. I'm always really happy to talk about color guard. It's not something that I do often in my life. I mean, we have always, in smaller circuit, if I can say, we all have the same people to talk about. So to talk to new people and new voices is really, really interesting. And that's why I said yes, of course, right away about On a Water Break. And then it's funny, you're not the first one, but there's so many people that will be like, but how is it different in Canada? Why is it different? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think it's that different. And then when you talk to people about the real life, the real things that we do, we're like, oh yeah, there is differences. And of course, for people that know me, just the language is a barrier. It's not that bad, but it is a barrier. So it's just, and I like to go in depth. I'm born in drum corps. I mean, if you've listened to the 32 count life story, which I probably butchered half of my life in there, but I'm born in the activity here. But I think I have really, analytic parents to start with. So to know really where we come from, what we are, blah, 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 it's really is important for me. And even when I start to learn how to start teaching, how to design, I really like the relationship of a mentor. So someone that teaches you, and then you develop your voice and where you're going to go with this.
And that person helps you develop that voice.
Yes.
It's interesting. It just popped into my head. And I mean, for people who don't know, I met Cynthia teaching at Caballeros, helping Caballeros, a DCA corps many years ago. And it's actually even funny that you're starting this series, because if you think about what you had to do. So Cynthia was an English speaking person from Canada, and there were other people on the field
that didn't. Yeah.
So we were literally lost in translation 10 years ago or whatever.
It's really funny because I joined cabs I don't think, and I knew the people, right? That marched already, but I don't think I knew that they were marching. And there was one day I was just bored. I decided to take a year off, and that was a bad decision. And on a Friday afternoon, I just wrote then on the website, you could write to any captain, like the captains, their emails were, I think I wrote to Jesse and Frankie and Lou and Bobby and everyone to be like, hey, I'm coming. I'm something. I'm a flag. I can be a weapon or rifle. I don't like it, but I can be if you want me. Just take me. And what I didn't know is that there were a lot of holes. It was spots available.
That's a whole other story. But
I realized that I became just a translator for Matthew, and which he understood more than he wanted.
Yeah, yes, of course. Oh, I didn't know I was slow. Cynthia, did you know you were slow? Yeah.
But yeah, it was just really interesting to join, and it was joining a totally new family because I was at Brace before, and I think what was interesting is that I was kind of a mean person, not mean, I don't want to say mean, but very demanding of anyone that were around me.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it just fit with Cabs. That vibe was really, it worked.
That definitely fit. Well, I bring it up because I feel like that entire summer was sort of, in many ways, the precursor to this and having conversations, because you were clearly, the best flag. I was teching the flags. Like, it wasn't
really nice.
I was trying to be some amazing person. It was just like, in some ways we were working together to make this, this entire thing better.
You, I, and Annie. Annie was a really big part.
Right.
What's up, everybody? It's Steve McCarrick from the On a Water Break podcast. Here to let you know we just got done reacting to all of the 2023 DCI shows that we can watch at the end of this first week here. It was a really fun episode. It's coming out soon for you all to listen to. You'll get to hear what we thought about the Bluecoats, Carolina Crown, the Blue Devils, and much, much more. Literally all the groups that we could find. We went and we listened. We're giving you all of our thoughts, all our opinions, all our hot takes. You're going to want to check it out. It's going to be a good episode on a water break.
And so I feel like it was conversations that even we were having during that time frame where I was like, oh, Cynthia understands this differently or needs to have an understanding of it differently. Did you feel that way?
I don't know. I think that season was interesting for me because we didn't have a lot of time to talk. It was really like on the field getting stuff done.
Right.
And it was a different way of being taught. Joe Heiniger was a different type of designer around me. Like I remember one time doing a rep and he was yelling at me like, Cynthia, you look awful, blah, 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 blah. And it was completely lost in translation because I look around and I'm like, I mean, I don't want to say that I knew that was one of Best Flags, but I kind of knew that it was one of Best Flags. I was like, if I look horrible, what the hell? And people are like, no, it's a good thing. And I'm like, okay. Like, and I think I just kind of realized the position of a leader that I took more around like DCA when we had time to chill and talk. And I remember Bobby pulling me out of my room being like, oh, why are you in bed at 10:30? Like, and I think that's when I more realized what role I took, because at that point I was just the one yelling at the kids to be on time. It was and then those members became, I'm thinking of Philip Dawson, is that his last name? That just became way better than I. Like he's a way better performer than I. But I remember screaming at him from a side of the field, like, Philip, stop counting. You're on the route. Like you don't have tempo. Like yelling. So to respond, like, no, I don't think I realized up the way to DCI.
Really? Well, it's interesting because then you went on to teach at Cabs for several years. And so that had to be, again, another learning curve of you coming from sort of what Canada's used to and how you teach there and how you are more able to even use your language differently than you're able to use the language here. And I think that that's some of the interesting things that with your guests and upcoming and all the people you want to talk to, that's really what you're looking to explore, right?
Yes. Well, it just, I think for a lot of us, like international people, and I think we have a little something different that we don't, like I said, we don't realize we have. And when Bobby called me, I was like, why do you call me? Like, there's so many people that are available in the US. There's so many more color guards. There's so many twirling people. Like, why are you calling me? I'm 7 hours away. This doesn't make sense. But it doesn't make sense for you, but I will say yes, this. So I plunged into this head first. And I don't have a big drum corps backstory. I'm really just a DCA girl. But first the language, and it's like, I still don't know what the top tape is and the bottom tape and the third, and I still don't know. And I taught like for 8 years at Cabs or 7.
Bottom tape, the cheater tape, the top tape, all those tapes.
No. And the first year was flag. I was teaching flag, which is not, it was easier for me. But then the second year, when they brought me back, I was on teaching weapon, and it's Matt Hurley that was like, I'll show you how to do it. And I was like, I don't even spin weapon. And he's like, yeah, you just need eyes. You have good eyes. Like, let me teach you.
Right. Yeah.
And I remember being in a block and looking at the saber line and being like, all right, so we're going to do a tree turn. Because in French, it's literally tree turn. Like a triple is it's tree turn. That's how word to word. And Frankie Salati was like, under what? And I was like, yeah, tree turn. And he was like busted in his like, I mean, Frankie Salati being like, no, that's not what you mean, honey.
Right.
But the members were really, really willing, because I think that's one of the things that was really standing out to me is that I think Americans in general, you guys really like the exotic side of international people and how nice in general we are, and how, yeah, you're laughing because I'm very blunt.
I'm laughing with agreement.
Yeah, we're really nice, but I'm gonna speak up my mind. Like, I'm not gonna lie, and maybe that's a Canadian thing. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna speak behind your back. I'm not gonna say you're pretty if you're not you, but like your makeup is okay if it's not. Right. But I will help you all the way through, which is
absolutely.
And I'm not gonna say that you guys are not saying you're speaking your mind up, but to be blunt all the time, but for the greater good was, I think, really refreshing for you guys in general. And from all Canadians I know, we're like that. And
it comes from it's interesting though, you say that, and because it comes from a different place, I think, like there's like a heart there. There's like there's something there that gives it like a base to it that allows like the criticisms do not come across in that same way. And it's because
it's not a pokey criticism,
right? And it's intentional, right? It is. Yeah. You're not doing that. Whereas I think a lot of American eyes, marching band, color guard, drum corps, all that kind of stuff, the mentality has always been sort of like this aggressive from the top down, sort of like and when you're giving corrections, it comes from that very place. And so now we're starting to adjust. I mean, we're certainly now in the past 10 or 15 years really adjusting tone and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah, because that was what 15, 18 years ago, was it? That's good. Anyway,
yeah, we're not talking those numbers, but yeah.
But so, yeah.
But I think what it is with this series, if we can like circle back, because I think that all of this color has now sort of led the listeners to this place of understanding of what is the genesis of this, like why, and it has a lot to do with you sort of wanting to understand the activity more, wanting people to understand, and all people to understand the activity. I love the idea and the premise of what you're doing in terms of the words. So can you talk about a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we had that idea, you and I, just because you were so focused on talking about international, and for me it doesn't make sense until I have a discussion, right?
Right.
And yeah, so to go in specifically on a word, and for me that the other thing that was interesting, and that was completely separate to being international, is that to give a voice or a spot to people that usually not necessarily don't have to, but we don't ask those people to have one. Right. So we're all going to see the Rick Subos, and I hope to talk to him, like Rick Subo and Denise Benfiglio. And I, like I said, I really want to talk to them, but I also want to talk to that member that no one knows their mind, that maybe never did WGI, or that mom that has a story to talk about, and anyone that's in the activity, because the basic of this is just that, to give a voice to everyone. And I think any word we're going to pick, there's going to be different life stories, different angles. Just in the dictionary, there's different angles of the words, period. And then different understanding of the word and what it means.
Right.
And
it's such an interesting concept. It really is. As soon as you said it, I was like, yeah, that is sort of like the interesting concept, because there are words that we use in our activity all the time. Perform.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Tonight's performance, and I can talk to you about this, but and even we started with the words, and we're going to start with words that are not like specific to her. Like, we're going to start with introducing, and then we're going to do a premiere, and then there's so many, it can go so many places.
Right.
And anyone that I wrote to is wants to do more than one episode, because it's really interesting to just focus on one word and go deeply in what it is. And I hope to talk to international people. And I think that's maybe the thing. So if you're hearing this, you can try to reach us, because that's the thing that can be a little hard. Like, my bassin of people that I know are Canadians, Quebecers, which on its own is something different.
Yeah,
I want to talk to Pacific Harris people from all the way to, I don't even know where they are, but BC, I think. And Brazil. And then there's so many interesting stories from a lot of people that are around the world.
Yeah.
And Americans here and there can talk to anyone, but
No, I think that's what it is. And that's a great way to wrap this all up too, is like, yes, we want to talk to all of you out there. You can reach out to us, find us on our social media, at On a Water Break. You can go to our website, onawaterbreak.com, to get more information. Definitely subscribe so that you can catch them. They're going to be a part of the regular On a Water Break, but they'll come out as like bonus episodes. We have other water breaks that happen. We have On a Water Break in Rhinestones. We have On a Water Break Performer Spotlight. We have On a Water Break with Leander Mama sometimes. So from the stands and talking about band parents. So this is just another thing, and I'm so excited that you get to be a part of it. You've already got some in the can, as they say. There's some lost in translation for you, like that are already sort of ready to go. So please reach out to us and let us know. Anything else you want to add?
No, just have a discussion with me. Talk about the word, different cultures, different life stories, and words that you want to talk about, or anyone has something to say. Just hear your voice. Let's hear your voice.
Yes. All right. Well, good luck, Cynthia.
Thank you.
And I'm sure your first episode will be in about a week from now, so everybody can look for that. So We'll see you soon on the next On a Water Break.
Okay, everyone, that's it for this week. But remember, you have a voice too, and I want to hear it. Maybe you want to join me on the next episode of Lost in Translation, or maybe you know someone that has a great story. So let us know and write to us. Send us a message on any socials at On a Water Break. You can also reach me on Facebook, Cynthia Bernard, or on Instagram, Cynthia Bern. Thanks for listening, and hope to talk to you real soon.